Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Afro Gamer podcast. We have special guests in our midst. I don't know where to start from. We do have influential ladies in Africa, I would say. Influential ladies in Africa. And I'll give them the honors to introduce themselves.
Right. Hello everyone. My name is Joy Ajayi. I am a gameplay programmer and I'm also an ambassador for women in games for Nigeria. I um I make games, I play games, and I really love building communities and meeting people that also, especially women, that are also in games across Africa.
And Wendy, you're on mute.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. As you've heard, my name is Wendy Ndaki. I like to refer to myself as a creative entrepreneur, and I am a visual artist and writer. And yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing more about gaming with you guys. I've been in the gaming industry for around 2 years now, and I've learned a lot being part of the gaming community. So I'm glad to be here to share with you. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. So today's discussion is about the power of games and gaming communities via the African woman's lens. This is an interesting topic, and before we, get the ball rolling, just to relax your nerves, I always ask these questions: How did you get into the gaming and the creative industry? Wendy, you could go first.
Okay. So I've always been in love with the fusion of art and technology because I am an artist and I did IT in campus. So I mentioned my love for games to my mentor because I've been wanting to learn animation as well. So I mentioned my love for gaming to her, and she sent me a link to an opportunity at the Goethe Institute where we were to come up with gamification projects. And the project is called Enter Africa, and it ran in 15 African countries. So through Enter Africa, I got to be introduced to gaming on a deeper level and gamification to be more specific. And yeah, from then on, I've slowly started joining the gaming community, and that's how I am here right now with this, topic I'd like to share more about. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Wendy. Joy, how did you get into, you play games and you make games. So how did you get into, well, how did the interest start in the whole industry?
Okay. I always played games since I was small, especially when we had like a desktop at home. But I didn't know gaming could be a career until I was in secondary school, my year 10. And then I went for this summer camp where when they made games. And that's where I met other people that made games and the interest started from there. So until last year, I didn't do anything serious about the interest. But last year, I said to take it seriously, and since then, I have been interested in gaming community especially. So I did my research and I decided that since I love programming, I would love to do gameplay programming. So since then, I've been taking classes and tutorials online. I'm participating in game jams. I'm making games on my own just so I can build up my skill in games development. And a part of joining communities what has brought me here today and meeting people and just trying to gather warm women and let them have interest in games because being the only girl I know for such a long time that is interested in games has been quite bothersome. Like there's no other person I can say, oh, let's talk about games together and then we get to do that. But over the past 1 year, that I've taken it quite seriously. I've met so many amazing women that are very invested in games and are doing amazing things all around the world. I guess that's it.
Thank you very much for that, Joy. Um, Women in games or women in the creative industry or any part of gaming itself has been, you know, not even just women, but the African culture. It's more like, what are you doing? Talk more of women in the industry. What are the challenges? Because I think that has been the back and forth. Because I'm in the gaming industry, and there's always the debate about women in games. So, what are the challenges being an African woman in the industry?
Okay. Um, First of all, convincing your parents, because I mean you still grow up with them first. So convincing them that gaming industry is actually a viable industry, because I mean in Nigeria we don't have something that we can point at and say this is what they do. We really just have across the sea, that is Europe and America and Asia, as sort of like a reference point. So convincing them that gaming is something that you would want to go into and you have very serious interest has been quite a challenge. Then other guys, I mean, I feel recently it has become easier because people are like, wow, a girl is interested in games. But earlier, when you're in a room with just guys and they're playing games or they're talking about games, you tend to feel overshadowed in the conversation. When you talk, it's like, okay, what do you know? Or, I mean, there's always these memes on Twitter, like when a girl wears a Legend of Zelda shirt and the reaction people give. And that's kind of like been one of the many challenges, and even learning, because all we have is YouTube and Coursera and Udemy. We don't have educate. I can't go to university and study game development in Africa. But I mean, if I was outside the continent, I could do that. So that's, I mean, challenges are, they're minimal now because people are now interested in women entering these spaces. But earlier, when it was just an interest and not something I'd acted upon, convincing people around me that this is actually a career path was one of my major challenges.
Wendy, and you, what were the challenges that you faced?
The Okay. I'm glad that my parents are starting to get more supportive about the whole gaming being a career. So that's a good thing. But I feel like there are few women because also the fact that growing up, usually it's boys who get PS. The parents usually buy this gaming stations for boys mostly. So I grew up in a family full of girls. So the likelihood of us getting those equipment was very close to nil. Yeah, but I bet some families buy that for their girl child nowadays. So the experience of playing these games from a young age also is not as much as it would be ideal for women. So I guess that's why also they feel like it's a bit hard. We feel like it's a bit hard to join um, a community where people have a lot more experience. So that was one of my challenges. I felt a bit like I don't know a lot about games, and yeah. But then I'm glad that my team has been supportive. But then I've noticed that Enter Africa, Nairobi, we had a couple of women when we were starting, but they went dropping off. I feel like my experience in IT, because I did IT and at times I'd be the only girl in the class. My
Mm-hmm.
experience in IT has helped me be able to work with many men, and I'm used to working with men. So maybe for the other women, it was a challenge to integrate easily, where it's just maybe three of us in a group of 20 men, or I mean 20 total, we're 20, so 17 men. Yeah, so those are the challenges I've had. But to be honest, I'm feeling the gaming community feels like home for me, considering I mentioned that I'm passionate about the fusion of art and technology. So being with the visual artists alone does not feel at home, and being with the IT people alone doesn't feel at home. But with gaming, it fuses all of us, and I get to meet tech people and artists as well. So I feel more at home in the gaming community. Yeah.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you to
Yeah.
all our viewers. If you have any questions or comments, you can put it in the comment section and we will address this. So I'll briefly just go through a few comments. We have a lot of people saying hello and hi, but there is one from Hafiz where he said, let's see, boys get PS and girls get dolls. That is true, Wendy. Um, Sith had a question for Wendy. She said, I would love to hear more about your Enter Africa experience. Was that your first time involved in game development?
Yes, thanks for your question, Sif. Yes, my first experience with game development was through Enter Africa. As I had mentioned before, my mentor, who's an animator called Nyendo Muki, a Kenyan animator, sent me a link to the Enter Africa project, and then that's how I got to apply. And with time now, that's through Enter Africa, I've been able to join the larger gaming community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, I hope Wendy was able to answer your question. For those who just tuned in, there's a question. They want to know what you guys do in the gaming industry. So just 30 seconds. Again, you're not going to repeat it again. Joy, tell us what you do in the gaming industry. Wendy, you do the same under just 30 seconds and we'll keep the conversation going.
Okay. I am a gameplay programmer. I program games. I do the systemic and analytic thinking and the decisions that gameplay has to evolve. So the mechanics behind games, I am the one that programs them. That's basically what I do in the games industry.
Okay, and Wendy?
Okay, I am a writer and I'm slowly getting into doing visual art as well. We already have an animator and a visual artist in the team, so he does most of the work, but I intend to start helping with that as well. But I am a writer, I write for Ludicworks, which is a video game publishing company. And yeah, I'm also working on a game script for a game based in Rwanda. So my main role in the gaming industry for now is writing.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope your questions have been answered. So, when you hear gaming and you hear women in gaming, the best you hear is okay, probably she plays a game or two. Both of you have taken it to a whole new level. Wendy, you're a writer, game writer. That is something most females will be like, what? Joy, you're a game developer. That is probably an SQL language, SQL language to a lot of females who even play games. They'll be like, what are you talking about? Because even with the whole industry in Africa, there's a disconnect between gamers and the other creative side, where you're talking about the developers, the writers, people who do voiceovers, people who do music. How can women get into those, into that side rather than just playing games? Because that is what we're pushing now. Anytime we're talking about gaming, we're just talking about, okay, pick up a controller or pick up your mouse and play something or pick up your phone. But we're forgetting, that there are other parts, which is, what you guys do. So how do you encourage, the African women to pick a passion in one of those areas?
Okay, I guess I can start.
Yes.
Okay, so there are so many roles that one can take up in the game development process because we have writers, we have programmers, we have artists, visual artists, animators. Um, so women can come in through any of these channels. I've met many women who program. I've met many women who are artists, many women who are in film, because if you're in film, it's also very easy to come into gaming because, there's writing scripts, there's understanding how stories are done, animations. If you're also in animation, you understand how to animate. So there are many roles that one can come in as a woman. Yeah, so those are the ones I can think of at the moment. If I think of others,
Okay.
I'll share.
Joy, what about you? How if your friend comes to you and says, "Okay, Joy, how can I be a game developer? How can I produce music for games?" What will be your advice?
Okay. Um, First of all, because the gaming industry is very broad and diverse, if you're as a girl you're interested in gaming, I'll first of all ask you what do you like? Do you like writing music? Do you like programming? Do you like publicizing? Do you like marketing? Do you like drawing? Do you like animating? Do you like testing? Do you like translation? Because the gaming industry has a whole lot. I mean, there's localization, there's even law, the policies, making sure you're not stepping on anybody's toes and all of that. So if you're interested in the gaming industry, you have to be sure what you like, because you don't want to do programming if you like music, and then you have sat at your job for something that is very interesting to do, or if you like journalism, like criticizing games, and then you start drawing. Like there's always going to be a disconnect between the two, and you find yourself not liking your job and burn out quickly. So if you're interested in gaming, you have to identify what you like and what you enjoy doing, and from there you can now spur into the roles that Wendy has also mentioned. If you're bilingual, you can be a localization tester. You can be changing games from English to Yoruba, from English to German, from English to Swahili, to any language that comes, to any language that you feel this area deserves a chance to play this game also. Or if you're into law, you'll be the one looking for permissions, because we need signing contracts. For this voiceover artists, there are contracts that need to be done with them. For the music, there needs to be contracts. For the actors that the characters are modeled after, there are also contracts for that. So the game industry is very diverse, and if you're interested, there's always a space for you.
Mm,
I don't think there's anything you can come up with that there's not a space for. Even if it's teaching, I mean, there are game development courses in university, so you can teach game development.
mm. Good, good, good. So let me jump to a few comments here. Cliff said, "Which part of game development do you guys work in?" I believe you guys have already answered that. And what is your take on the African gaming scene? Before you jump on that question, there's another question relating to that also, and that is from Roy. So, what is your opinion on the gaming industry growth, especially for stories in Africa being adapted into virtual platforms and the adaptability to the same without compromising the cultural aspect? So, let me just rephrase the question. What do you guys think presently about the gaming industry as a whole? That's for Africa, and your take as to we bringing on more cultural games, because there are developers who are making, there's the Ludo King. I connected with a game developer who is making a combat mobile game, and he's using African warriors. So what's your take on that? Because there's been this conversation about which focusing on our own games and trying to promote them rather than just playing Western games. There's no problem with that, but let's support our own. So two questions in one. Wendy, I would allow you address what you think is the state of the gaming industry in Africa, and Joy, you would address your take on we adopting or building cultural games. So Wendy.
Okay. Um, I recently attended a game demo for the African Games Development Community, which is usually organized by Ludic. And I was impressed by the participation and how many, I mean, the way many countries were represented from across the region. So I feel like there's a lot of content being created in Africa, but it's only just maybe exposure and for us to be willing as people who consume games also to consume our own as well, so that when we're playing games we also think of which African game did I like and that I'd like to play and experience and also promote, because we it's good to promote our own content as well. If you like an African game, you tell people about it. Yeah, so I'm very positive on the how things are going on the continent, and like for instance what Africa Comic Kid is trying to achieve through the Gameathon, where Africans from across the region will be coming together to create games together, and hopefully afterwards also promote each other's games. So I'm very optimistic about this. There's also Ambitious Africa, which is connecting different African countries, and in relation to creating entertainment content and also educational content, which is very relevant right now considering most schools are closed and we need relatable educational content for children on the continent. So yeah, I feel like there's a whole lot of opportunities out there for the African gaming community, and yeah, it's just up to us to grab them and be committed to the opportunities. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Joy.
Okay.
Adoption of our cultural heritage into games.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, I will first of all start with there are actually African-centered games in existence. I know many have started, and because of lack of funding, they stopped
Mm.
because trying to create an African team requires money in terms of design and mockups and all of these things. So in terms of telling African stories, people are willing to tell African stories, but also people need the knowledge to be able to create these stories. Because if we want to compete or if we want to make our game accepted by other countries, we have to show them in a very wonderful, nice graphics quality on point and all of that. And because of the lack of funding, it's really bad. But in terms of adapting cultures, I think a lot of people are doing that. We still do that. I hope to do that also. But the thing is, if we can identify our stories in Africa, we can tell our stories. The thing is, in terms of history in Africa, it's quite poor. I mean, there are some certain east parts of Nigeria stories that have happened that I know nothing about. But if our stories were out there, then you can have people modeling games after this. Because if you see, what can I say, The Witcher started as a book before it became a
The Witcher,
game.
yeah, it did.
Yeah, then it became a game, then it became a series.
A series, yeah.
So somebody told the story first. And once you tell, that's where we need our writers. So when our writers tell the stories, then it's now on to the game developers to develop the games for these stories. And there are many, many stories out there. I think the industry in Nigeria is doing a very good job, and in Africa, telling African stories from South Africa to East Africa to even Nigeria. Like a lot of animation studios are trying to tell African-centered stories. So once we have our game developers on ground, trust me, there is no African game developer that doesn't want to tell African stories. But identifying with these stories, we need the audience to identify with these stories. So when we create these games, we know there's an audience we're creating these games for. Because you can't just create games and throw it into the air. You have to make money from it. So if
Mm.
if we
Yeah,
have an
that,
audience,
that is that
if
is
we have
always the question mark, the money part.
if we have an audience for if we know this story as an audience, games will be created for it. Because we have so many game developers in Africa with so many untold there's so many untold stories. Like we barely scratch the surface when it comes to culture and stories in Africa. I mean we are over 50 countries, and each country has a story to tell.
As a
So
story, yeah, that's true.
once people are sure these stories have audience, games will be created for them. It's very simple.
Okay. We do have a quick question for both of you, and that is from Omonla. He was asking, do you have any plans to develop esports games? Both of you personally, do you have any projects in the work for an esports game?
Okay, should I go first?
Yeah, anyone can go
Yeah.
first.
Okay, esports. Right now, I do not know how to develop multiplayer games. I am hoping to learn how to do that. But one thing is, esports is a very lucrative industry. Learning about esports, I've been very entertained and even amazed by the amount of traffic of audience in esports. So a lot of people play games and a lot of people want to make money and don't just want to sit down on your laptop for 2 hours and not get any profit from it. So in developing the esports industry, I'm very interested in it. In as an ambassador of women in games, we also have esports as part of our mission statement. So if we can create African games and if we are sure we have an audience, sure, I really want to involve every single aspect of gaming industry in my work, and esports is one of them. I'm interested in it, but I can't say for certain now there's anything on ground, but it's an interest that I'm sure I will develop
Hmm,
with
work
help.
in progress. Okay. Wendy, what about you?
Yeah.
Do you have any
Oh,
project you're working on that is an esports game?
yes, we do. As Enter Africa, actually, we just had a meeting with my teammates. I see Roy and Cliff Gore on the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are
so
going in on you. They want to know.
yeah. So one of the things that we were informed by our leader was that Enter Africa, the main leadership of Enter Africa, mentioned that we'll be having an esports event soon, a tournament of sorts. So this is in the works, not in relation to developing the esports games themselves, but in participating in an esports event. Yeah. But hopefully in the future we'll be being I mean we'll have an esports project.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Let me read another comment. Safe said, great advice. There are so many roles in game development that are overlooked that relate to people's already existing interests. Not everyone needs to be a programmer or artist. Um, Bolaji said the throne of gamers is making a fighting game with African gods theme. What is the status of the game? Who knows? Have you guys heard of that?
Yes, I have heard of the game. I can't say for status because I'm not involved in development, but if the project does, like I said, lack of funding is a very major thing when it comes to game development. And without funds, you'll be discouraged in moving forward in any project. So I can't say about the status of the game, but I can say that if funds do go through, it will be a very good hit.
Okay, talking about funding, we know how Africa is. Once they don't see a template, meaning someone has done it and succeeded in it, it is going to be very difficult to convince an investor or for you to even raise funds from donations.
Yes.
So how do we work around that? Because it's the same thing. It's a different case. For example, let me digress a little bit. A team here can say, "Hey, we're making a mobile game. This is what it looks like based on the statistics of people who play game for example, in Sweden or the United Kingdom. We are positive that this is the X number of people who play games and this is the amount of
Yes.
money we do for in-app purchases. But if you take that to how what is the question is what is the workaround? Because if you take that to an African investor, even if it's a VC or an angel investor, and you say game, he's most likely going to say game, that one that you used to play for your leisure time. What is the workaround? Because we need a lot of reorientation in Africa as a whole. So I don't know, if you guys have any suggestions because That is something
Yeah.
I always want to hear as a solution because it's hard.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I have a solution, or rather a suggestion of something we could try in relation with gamification, um, where now we start creating educational game content. So it's a game, but you're enjoying yourself and you're learning in the process. Or, but like for instance, there's a gamification project that was used in medicine where gamers, 10, I think it took 10 gamers, yeah, to come up with I do not remember the exact numbers, but it took a very few number of gamers to come up with a solution in the medical field where a PhD people were unable to come up with a solution because they created a playable um, it was on creating a molecular something chemistry. I don't remember the exact details, but you can use a gamification or where you're using the elements in games that make games sticky, that make you want to play games for long periods of time and repeat things. Like you fail and then you go back and start again. You see, this is the
Okay.
kind of repetition you need when it comes to education. You need to keep on rereading the things you've learned before in order for it to stick in your brain.
Speaking.
So, yeah, so these are the solutions we can come up with that investors, I believe, will be more interested in listening to because we're solving a need. Like, for instance, right now, the children at home and they need educational content, but we do not have such engaging content in our curriculum so far. But if we go with such solutions to our ministries of education, then they'd be more willing to give us an ear and see how we can collaborate as the educational practitioners and the game developers and come up with a solution where children are able to to enjoy their learning from home. Okay, maybe this would be in the future, but yeah, um, solutions such as this. That's the
Okay.
idea I have. Yeah.
Okay. Let me read a few comments before we move on.
Mm.
Sith said the future looks bright, and I'll scroll down to another comment she made when we started asking about funding. She said there are a number of funding opportunities currently available to Black game developers right now. I think we should take advantage of them. And she further on said a good fund to take advantage is the Black Game Developers Fund by Humble Bundle that is open to developers worldwide. I hope more Africans apply for that fund. Sith, thank you very much for that. If you could just post the link for other viewers so that they can also see that, that would be much appreciated. And Roy said when we spoke about the funding, he was like, how about look at it from a child's eye or perspective? We play to create fun, kill the idleness, then introducing the money aspect. That is from coming in empty to being fulfilled. Make fast and break it even faster. Thank you very much for that comment. Um, don't you think, in my opinion, now, I don't know about the creative side of the gaming. I'm talking about the esports side of the gaming. Many gamers now are just about the money part of it. They are not interested in the building of their brand, how to become a household name. They are just, oh, I want to make money. And when you say, okay, how? That question, I'm still waiting for an answer till today. I don't know if that is, I know there's more work in the creative side of things, but
The business.
is that also going around the community where people just say, "Oh, I'm inside the creative industry because I want to make money." But when you say how, what is your roadmap? What is the plan? Are you is that problem also eating the creative side of the gaming industry?
Well, for now, I don't think so because most of us in Africa in the gaming industry, I mean, I won't say I can beat my chest, but I'm pretty sure it's not for money because we don't have an existing industry that was saying that, oh, we're going there and then there's money. We're literally just mining the field. So we are laying the groundwork. So saying work for money, I do not know about the esports. Like I said, I'm just learning about the esports industry. But for it, sure, some people in the long run, I mean, we have people that are in it for the money. I mean, they're seeing like an untapped resource. Let's go in, make the first cash, and leave the whole place. There are people like that. But I feel for most of us, it's more about passion and trying to express ourselves in this way that's not been expressed before. Well, in terms of making money, sure. I mean, at the back of everybody's mind, we need money to function in the society.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
there is still that, but in terms of it being the very first thing on our list, I don't think that's a thing for the creative industry. And in answering your question, I mean, I don't know the answer to that question, but I think once people realize that money is made by brands. Like the way Zenith Bank doesn't need to talk. You just need to mention Zenith Bank and then people
You
already
have to build
know
your
that,
brand first.
yeah,
Yeah.
like people already know that money is talking. So like if your brand, if you've created a very good brand, like when Zenith Bank Festival started, they were exclusively for the rich. So it was once I've made it in life, I must go and open a
Open his
Zenith
any bank.
bank
Yeah.
account. Yes. So I feel in esports, once people realize that building brands it's going to be very it's going because when you build your brands, then you can call in investors, then you can call in this. Like you don't even need to talk, you just need to come in and say my name is this, and then it's opening doors. So if people realize that building brands would solve a whole lot of problems, then people will see that it's not just about the money because Nigeria is also hard. I mean, Africa is hard. There's recession. People just want to make add fast money and leave the place. And esports seems like that industry. So I feel that's why everybody's clamoring for the money in the sports.
Okay. So let me read more comments and we'll speak about the Africa Communicate. Let's see now. Okay. Yeah. Hafiz said, Joy, since you are Nigerian, you should know the childhood game called Suwe. Can you create a minimalistic version of it? So that is a request. It's not, I don't, I guess you can look into
I'll try
that.
my best once I'm done with school.
Let's see now. Okay, Music Junkie said making games for education will attract the government's fund. Well, that is buttressing what Wendy is saying. So I think that makes sense because we keep just creating, playing the combats, the soccer, but something that will stimulate the mind for the kids in school. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, do do do. Let's see now more comments. Okay. Um, Bolaji said, ladies, kindly drop your socials so we can follow them. I guess you can drop that when we're about to round up. Clifford said, I think there is lack of consistency where we want to get everything and also get money. All right. And Africa Communicate, of course, said they are proud of you guys. Mhm. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. I know there was a question. Okay. Roy, there's a question from Roy, then we'll start talking about the Africa Communicate. He said, how do you see fit to engage creatives in proposal writing and planning financially? Yeah, where these things are frowned upon. When did you want to take that? Let me put it up again so you can see.
Okay.
Proposal writing and planning financially. I guess that's putting together a pitch deck, to be able to speak to an angel investor or a VC. I think that is what, because I guess sadly in Africa, except you have a mentor, many people don't know about this.
That's true. I can answer that. Okay, with the gaming community, we've had the African game developers community. we usually have people come in, experts in different fields, come in and share about this different topics that the community would like to learn on. So I feel like this is something that we can actually follow up on someone who could come and train on proposal writing and planning financially, because yeah, it's important as creatives to be able to plan our finances properly because most of us do passion projects, but then we also need to sustain ourselves as human beings. We need to pay for different bills. Yeah, so that is a very good point, Roy. And yeah, that's something we can organize in our different communities and see how we can train um, our members on these topics.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much for that, Wendy, because that is a huge problem that I believe everyone should, including myself. I think we need to educate ourselves about the proposal writing, the financial planning, and many more. Africa Communicate said we would love to use this opportunity to announce that Humble Bundle has partnered with us, and we will be looking at signing game developers for published deals. Wow, wonderful, Africa Communicate. Um, he also said they are supporting our price categories. That is wonderful. And now to round off, we're going to talk about the Africa Communicate. Bolaji is saying what country is that? It is not a country; it is an event for gaming creators, game developers. If you are in the gaming industry on the creative side, even gamers, if you test games, you are all invited to it. You can follow the Africa, not the Africa Communicate on Twitter. You can also follow the Afro Gamer underscore. You'll see more information there. So what should we be expecting from the Africa Communicate, especially for women in games now? Any female who wants to get into the industry, what should she be expecting if she when she attends the Africa Communicate? Joy?
Okay. In this event, we have lots of female speakers coming to talk about their experience in the industry and just kind of show that yes, they've created names for themselves, so you can also do that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be training sessions in Unity, in Buildbox, in different gaming engines. And when we're wrapping it up with the game jam, there will be mentors. So if you have an all-female team, you get a female mentor that will put you through the game development and all of that. And I like to that for participants and maybe winners of the game jam, we have tickets to the Women in Games conference coming up in September. So if you participate in this event, you could win a ticket and then you get to see on a global scale women that are into the different aspects of gaming.
Wendy, what should we be expecting? And tell us the dates of the event so that the viewers can actually mark their calendar.
Okay. So we should be expecting, as Joy has mentioned, a lot of training in the gaming industry as well as a lot of networking because we want different countries to collaborate with each other. Because I mean, it won't make sense for you to just create the games as Nigerians only, Ghanaians only, Kenyans only. And we will want a lot of collaboration to happen during that period of time. So that's a big thing. And we also intend to, as Dre has mentioned, to have gifts for the women. We will have a special category for the women who will be participating. Yeah, so that is in an effort to encourage more women to join in on the Game of Thrones. So yeah, I'm encouraging all the women who are tuned in, and if you know other people who are passionate about gaming, that you tell them, and yeah, hopefully they'll come and get to experience this and go away with a gift. And the event will be taking place this month from the 24th to the 30th. And yeah, registration can be, if you follow Africa Communicate, or just Google Africa Communicate, you can see the full name on the chat section. You'll go to the website and be able to register from there. So yeah, the first section of the week will be mostly training, and then during the weekend we'll have now the game jam, where people will be developing game content. Yeah, so that's a summary of what will be happening.
Hello, can you guys hear me? I think I lost connection for a minute there.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, good.
so
Good. Yeah, for some reason my internet just decided to embarrass me. Okay, so you said it's from the 24th to the 30th. Um, um,
yes.
Joy, can you give us a breakdown of different sessions that will be holding? I know you said there will be lectures, there'll be training, but can you be like a little bit more specific as to, okay, fine,
Okay.
if you are a gamer, we have this for you. If you're a game developer, we have this for you, and so on and so forth.
Okay. For one of the sessions we have is someone that is an esports. She plays games professionally. I
Oh,
think most people
wonderful.
know her, Queen Arrow. Yes, so
You
she'll
see,
be
now you're catching the interest of the viewers.
so now she would be talking about being a student, being a professional game player, and also switching. And she's a law student, so it. I was really amazed when I found out she's doing all three things at the same time because I don't think law is simple. I don't think I can do law. And we also have someone talking about narrative design, that is infusing your emotions into creating games, telling good stories. So, and then we also have someone talking about participating in game jams. She has been doing game jams throughout this lockdown period, and she's going to be talking about how she has participated in this game, how she tries to do it so fast and round up in 48 hours or 72 hours and all of that. And like I said, we have training sessions, so we have people teaching how to make quick short games in Unity or in Buildbox, and so many other kinds of topics coming up. We have professionals that have made games and own studios, and how to successfully own your own studio and maximize like your indie studios, financially planning, all of that, like things that go into making an indie, having and successfully building an indie studio. I don't want to like let everything out of the
Everything
bag
out
there,
of the,
but
yeah, I understand.
that's one of the many things that we are hoping you guys get to enjoy during the event on the 24th to the 30th of this month.
Okay, wonderful. So, to all our viewers, on the screen, you can see the poster, August 24th to 30th. Registration and more information at africacommicade.org. So you can go there and register. It's going to be a wonderful event. Trust me, if you are in the gaming industry, or you have interest in the gaming industry, you need to make sure that you are in attendance. Um, I was going to ask you to drop your handles, but looks like someone has done that for you. So if you're
Yeah.
trying to follow Joy, her Twitter handle is Moshokpe underscore AJ, A for Apple, J for Jog. And following Wendy will be at Wendy at it. So ARTIT. Um, Alfred said, "Women in tech doing great stuff." I must use this opportunity to thank the both of you for taking time out to speak to us. Um, you may not know it, but you are actually setting a foundation for not just gamers, but female creatives or any female interested in going along that path. Now, when they are trying to convince their parents, they will make reference to, oh, there's Wendy, there's Joy, this is what they are doing, because you know how African parents are. They don't want you
Yeah.
to say there's somebody in the UK, there's somebody in America. They want a local reference. So, you know, thank you for what you're doing, making Africa proud, and keep doing what you are doing. Like I said, you may not know it, but you're telling the stories for others to follow. With that being said, do you have any closing remarks as we end the show?
I'd just like to thank all of you, first the viewers, for tuning in. We really appreciate that you've taken the time to, listen to us. Also to you, Ife, for giving us this platform to share about our passion in gaming and hopefully inspire some people out there. Thank you.
All right, Joy, and you, your closing remarks?
Yeah. Like when you said, I want to thank the viewers, Ifa, for giving us this platform. And I also want you guys to come in and tune in for Africa Communicate because trust me, this is the first of its kind, and we hope to continue doing this yearly. And for this to continue yearly, we would need you guys to always to attend. So and like if I said, to talk to people outside the country, we need data. So if you attend this conference, we can say we have this so amount of people interested in gaming. And like community is really important. And once you attach to yourself to 2 3 people that are into gaming, you always be spoiled, and you have people that will lift you up when you feel stressed or down. Because trust me, there are days when I'm just like, gosh, why am I still doing this? But I have amazing people around me to continually encourage me and tell me that what I'm doing is for a right cause. So
Okay,
thank you
thank
once
you.
again for
All right.
tuning in and watching us.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us and watching. Do follow the Afro Gamer on our social media platforms, as you can see on the screen. Also, we do have our weekly podcast, and because it's the Africa Communicate month, the conversation continues even next week. So, follow our YouTube channel, subscribe and set the alarm so that it notifies you when we're going live. And also, if you are a lover of audio podcasts, we do have versions of this cast on all platforms like Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, whichever one you do use. And once again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Bye from everyone.
Bye.
Bye.